Hi friends, Karin here. This interview was recorded on October 17th, about 2 weeks prior to Election Day in the US. I am recording this message on November 10th, just under a week after Election Day. Mandy and I wanted to state irrevocably and undeniably that we are not a safe space for anyone who votes against human rights. Film, television, books, any art form, and the very act of the consumption of art is political. There has been a lot of discourse over the past few days, and there will continue to be much discourse in the next several years, but we want to make it abundantly clear where we stand. For those of you on the margins of society who are afraid for what's to come, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. Please take care of yourself during this time. Find your community, and above all else, survive. We need you. Our existence has been politicized, but that just means that our continued existence is resistance. So continue existing and continue resisting. We love you.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we have a very special episode this week. We haven't had many episodes recently, but it's a very special episode.
Surprise! I'm
Surprise!
Mandy of the Sea of Devour.
And I'm Karin from Mount Devour. Dun dun dun.
Hey.
Sounds so sinister. I love it.
I know, I love it. That's why I
Yay.
picked it. That's why I picked the Sea of Devour.
Can you imagine just the sea opening up and devouring you? I love
No,
it.
I like to sleep at night.
No, it's so sinister. But in like a fantasy world, not in real life.
True.
I feel like that would be very, very excellent. That sound means we have an intruder alert.
Ooh, this is an exciting intruder.
So exciting. Today we have Rachel Halzel Hall, the author of The Last One, among other things, here to talk about her latest book. How are you?
Yes,
Thank you for
I
being
am
here.
fine. Thank you for inviting me. It's so wonderful to see you hold that. Hold
It's
that
wonderful
thought.
to
It's
hold it.
really lovely to be able to hold it in my hands.
Right?
I do love
Right?
it. And just, okay, so what we normally do is we ask our authors if you can give us an elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard about it.
Okay. So a woman wakes up in a forest, almost naked, and doesn't know where she is, how she got there, but she knows that she has to get to this big ass mountain way over there to save the world. And that is the last one. Oh, did I mention that there's like, of course, the hot blacksmith and a little thief and weird creatures that want to kill her. Other than that, it's a
You just go to the
straightforward tale.
mountain.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
up the
yeah.
mountain.
Go to
It's
the
not a
mountain.
big deal.
She's an every woman.
So hilariously, you said she has to go up to the mountain, and I've just recently rewatched Frozen, and so I just got that image of Anna trying to climb up the mountain. The
Yes.
universe is trying to tell me something.
It's
I need
trying to
more
tell you
women
something.
climbing mountains.
Yeah, let it go, let it go. Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, is this your first foray into fantasy?
It is. I play, I'm a gamer and I'm actually playing Eternum right now. So I'm familiar with that kind of fantasy world and I like sci-fi and I like some romance, but I am a crime writer. That is my bread and butter, and that's my first love. And this was an opportunity that was presented to me by Liz Pletier from Red Tower because she knows I've written 13 books and she knows that I like doing new things, telling new stories. And she said, "Do you want to write a romantasy series?" And I don't ever say no, and especially I don't say no to Liz. And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." It's hard, and I come with this with great respect and admiration for those writers who do it all the time. I'm learning, and but it's so fun. And just like every other story I've told before, it's just another way of me trying to figure out what my life is about, what I believe, what makes me angry, just one more cipher for me to be pissed off, but now in a world with creatures that don't exist. It was a totally different kind of writing for me. And
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like
yeah,
the how much of your thriller and crime background like went into the writing of this, and what's it like switching up?
yeah. No, so crime, of course, is hard and fast. We have laws. You kill
Right.
someone, there are laws down to like the code and the type of penalty you'll receive. For this, I had to create this whole new world, and I thought I'd done it until Liz is like, "Yeah, we need like maybe 70,000 more words because it wasn't as big as I thought it was. And that's fine. I mean, I am very political and I have big thoughts about things. And so it was kind of easy for me to say, oh, I believe this, and this. But how to make that into an entire world, I had to fall back on my, my classical education as an English American lit major, and then reading a lot of fantasy again, but this time forensically, as opposed to like for pleasure. And it took a moment. It took a moment. I was still also writing my crime novel that came out this past summer at the same time, and
Oh
I have a day
gosh.
job.
Oof.
It was crazy, but fortunately, I love this. I love writing. I love telling stories. I love learning, and all of it just kind of conspired to help me figure out again what it was that I believe. And I fell back on what most of my crime stories are, and it's about women who wake up and go into a space where people believe that she should not exist, where she's kind of like the Tippi Hedren in The Birds, where she comes into this space and all hell kind of breaks loose all around her, and she has to figure out how to calm it all down and how to like survive so that she can actually do her job. So Kai, or our heroine in Lost One, is me in a way. And it's funny because I am also going into this space, this new space of, romancy, trying to figure it all out. And knowing that, I may face some hurdles and some people who don't want me here, but you know what? I'm here and I have a story to tell. And I'm going to use that newness to launch into this new realm that, I want to inhabit.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's yes. Take up space. You
Take
deserve
out
to take
space.
up
I am
space.
going to woman spread all over this
Hell
job.
yeah.
Yes. We are here for it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, let's do it. So I'm curious, are you, especially with something like fantasy, where you kind of have to build out a world that
Yeah.
is generally different than ours,
Hmm.
are you, when you're writing, are you more of a plotter or a pantser? Did you have to like, do you have like, I know we interviewed an author that they had like an encyclopedia for like their fantasy world. Do you have like something like that
Oh
for
my
you to
gosh.
reference?
Yes. I actually, because I'm working on the second one now, I actually created a template and printed them out of sheets that track name, belief, outfits, all this, just because it's so big. But I am an outliner. I am a control freak. Part of that is just me, just genetically being that kind of person where I do something that's not on the list, I'll write it down on the list and cross it off. I'm that kind of person. But I have so much going on, especially with the day job. My daughter's in college now, but for all of her life, I am a working mom, and having an outline makes me feel like I'm moving forward because I get 4 hours. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to write every day,
Oh
and
my.
that's pretty much
God
it
bless
from
you.
4 to 7.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I do some little things at the end of the day, but my mind is fried.
Yeah.
So I need outlines. And that gives me also kind of the permission to wander off track because I have, that outline and I let my mind wander as much as it wants, but I do come back. And with this fantasy, this romantasy, I use Save the Cat method. I use index cards, post-it notes, my new template. I am like organized, and I have comp books with mortal stuff, God stuff, map environment stuff. So my work desk is just like towers and towers dedicated to organization and rubrics.
I really like what you said about like how you're able to kind of let your mind wander because you have that outline. I never like thought about it that way because if you have an outline, I think the general thought may be like,
Hmm.
oh, well, we got to stick to this outline. But like
Yeah.
I like that where you're like, I can wander, but then you know where to come
I know
back.
how to get
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Right.
I oh, this changes everything.
But think about it. It's like, you have your earphones on, and if they're wireless, you can go over there. But, if it starts like freaking out some, you can come back and you can be, powered again by this unseen force. And that's what I see it as. I see it as help and not a hindrance.
I love that.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
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 So I read a little bit of feedback on the last one, that kind of compared it to The Witcher meets N.K. Jemisin.
Uh-huh.
How does it feel to get such high praise and high comparisons in a new to you genre? Like that is crazy to
It is
me.
crazy and wonderful, but I'm like most writers, and it's like I'm neurotic, and are they just being nice to me? It's kind of that I don't believe anything, and I'm a skeptic, and I'm scared, and I don't want to like look at it because
Right.
and as a crime writer, I'm very much aware of people waiting for your fall, and again, that's just the kind of fatalist I am because of what I write. But in those moments of feeling good about my writing and myself, I feel wonderful. It makes me, I can breathe. I do respect this so much because I've read a negative review here and there, and someone used the word tries her hand at. And to me, I was offended at that because I'm a career writer. My first book was published on the first anniversary of 9/11.
Oof.
So I've been at this for a very long time,
You're
and
like, I'm not new here.
right,
Yeah.
I don't try my hand at anything. I don't wake up at 4 o'clock every morning to try my hand at anything. I am a serious writer. My day job is writing. And so that more, because of what we are as human, I burn more at that than enjoy enjoy the praise. It's that 8,000 great reviews, one negative review, and you kind
I
of like just
yeah.
lean into that one, and it's like,
I think that's just who we are as humans. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
everybody, you could be praised by God himself,
yeah,
and you're not gonna believe it. And you're
yeah,
gonna believe that one negative person,
right.
We
And
like
you're
just
aware of that.
Bob from the
Yeah,
middle
we
of
just
nowhere.
had an interview recently where they quoted the mentality that, you could be the brightest, juiciest peach on the tree, and there's still going to be somebody who would rather you were an orange.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like
I like
there's
that.
just going to be somebody that doesn't like
There's
peaches.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you wake up that morning, it's like, I'm so juicy and peachy.
Look at
And
me,
then,
I am
right.
great, and then they're
Uh-huh.
like, you're not that great, and you're like, well,
Oh,
you're wrong, so that's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can be wrong and move on.
Yeah. No, and that's why, I'm very much aware of that. And I keep actually a wind jar on my desk so that when I'm feeling that way and like I haven't achieved anything, I look at my mason jar, my pink mason jar, and say, okay, I don't suck as bad as I think I do. Whereas that person and my cat right now, Gus, he is purring and scratching his face against my phone. Like, this is my phone.
Hi,
Yeah.
Gus, Gus.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, I'm aware, and I try to figure out ways to combat that because I'm 54. I don't need as much stress in my life as I used to be able to tolerate maybe 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
There's
I'm glad that 98% of the people who've read it love it. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, okay, this was a good decision to take time away from my family and my cats to write,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of four books that will soon be somewhere behind you guys.
Ooh.
absolutely it will.
Okay, wait. Is this something that we knew? Because I thought this was a standalone.
It's a
Um,
duology.
ooh.
Yeah, so it'll be two from one point of view and then another two from another point of view.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is
Hence the
so
mountains of
exciting.
information I am compiling at this
That
very moment.
makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
we did start this by saying we want more women climbing mountains.
Yes.
So, I mean, mountains of information is still a mountain.
Yeah.
I am Everest then. I'm scaling that. It's growing, growing.
So I'm curious where the idea for the story kind of came into it. Was it something that like you kind of niggled in the back of your mind, or did something specific inspire you to write this story?
Right. So when Liz and I first started talking about this, she had an idea about, a woman in a brand new land. And after that, it's like, well, what could that be? And so with all the thoughts in my head and knowing that I wanted her to be me in some ways, I just and knowing that it had to be romance, which was the hardest part actually kind of for me, I kind of just wrote an outline about what that would mean. If this were a crime story, how would I introduce her to the world? And in some ways, I looked to my first mystery, Land of Shadows, as kind of a jump start from that, where there's this PI, no, she's a LAPD homicide detective, and she gets a case and she has to figure it out. So I did that with this book, with the last one. She is this, empty vessel, so she thinks, who is in a place that bad things are happening everywhere, and she has to stop it, and she's the one to stop it. So I went from there and just grew the story more and more and more, and then had to go back and add more romance to the story where I'm like, well, they kissed on page 30. Isn't that enough?
There was something. It happened, right?
It happened,
Yeah.
but it took a moment because I write crime scenes, not sex scenes,
Right.
and so I'm a Gen X kid, so I went back and thought about all the great romances that I loved, and the first that popped in my mind was David and Maddie from Moonlighting, Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis. They're like peak goals where they're annoyed at each other, attracted to each other. And then I thought, okay, Sam and Diane from Cheers. So those were my North Stars in terms of romance. And then I broke out, from my bookcase, all that erotica that I bought back in 1993 or something like that. And it's like, how does one do this again? And I also, I've been
Love
married,
your research.
I love
right? I
it.
researched sex, and I've been married for 28 years. And I actually, I turned to that because I wanted a very authentic relationship between my two leads. I wanted it to be respectful and authentic, sexy, of course, but grown people's
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's like, now that part is like, ooh, my mom's gonna read some of this,
Yeah.
and that kind of like, oh, I can drop
Right.
the F bomb all day, but now it's like, oh, they kissed. Oh my God.
It's
So,
like you have a
I
kid
was
and you're gonna be like, my mom's gonna know I know about the birds and the bees.
right.
Even though you have a child, you're like, oh no,
right.
oh no.
Yeah. And it's funny because I have a 20-year-old, and I'm not, she's read some of it and everything, and I'm not blushing with her, but with my mom, it's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I get it. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was your writing process different going from crime to fantasy? Did you have to change your process a little bit, the way that you
Yeah.
draft the story?
Yeah, I had to slow down. Like I said, when I turned in my draft that I thought I'm done, it was 120,000 words. For me, my crime stories tend to be about 110,000, which is a big crime story. And here I'm like 120, and they're like, yeah, it needs to be like 150,000. And so it's like, oh, I need to go back. And so I like page turners. I like getting people to flip, flip, flip. That's my second cat, Major, who is now saying good
We
morning.
love you.
So Major and Gus Gus, my daughter named them after Cinderella's, the mice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Love. Yes.
So yeah, I had to go back and add to this world things that I don't have to explain in crime novels because they exist and we know they exist, and what a president does, and why crime happens in some areas. We all know that.
Mhm.
Now I had to actually take a moment and say, well, why are we taking land? Why do we believe what we believe? All those things that are so basic in my other writing, I actually had to stop and pay attention to that and figure out, well, how does this fit with this region and that region and races and all the rest of it? So that was the major difference. And of course, that made my book 200,000 words. And that's too many words. And so I had to go back and scale back and land at that lovely 150,000. But it's like, well, now I know. I know how much to do, how much to write, and where for this next book where I need to spend more time. I know what my weaknesses. I'm very interested in knowing what my weaknesses are as a writer, because I'm always trying to do better and tell better stories. And I like the process too. It's hard for me sometimes because I do have so many commitments, but every book I want to make sure that I incorporate what I've learned, over the past and to put it in the future. There's one thing that Walter Mosley, who wrote Devil in the Blue Dress, he has said that he writes every day. And I believe that. And I'm not saying everybody should do this, but he writes every day because every day new things happen to us. And as writers, we're very much, we're supposed to put things that we've learned in our books. And if you don't write that next day after learning something new, then sometimes that new thing slips away and you've lost it. And so
That
I
is
write every
such
day
good
because
advice.
I read a new story. People amaze me and horrify me every day, and I want to make sure that whatever I've learned from
Yeah.
that is somehow reflected in the story I'm telling. So that remains even with my romanticides, that I will write every day to make sure that even if it's this brand new weird world, that whatever I learned is somehow reflected in the story that I'm sharing.
Do you
That is
find
brilliant.
that now that you've done one, that the next one is a little bit easier for you to write?
Oh my gosh, yes. I am loving it right now because it's like I know, especially with my organization, which, I have to do before I even write one word, it's a better process. I know, I need to be able to track Kai's amulet all throughout this story and her powers or lack of powers and what kind of everything. So I'm going into this with great knowledge. And when I first started it, it's kind of like, I look back on my very first story, and it is definitely not, the same Rachel who wrote her 10th story, because I'm growing as a crime writer, and now I'll be growing as a romantic writer. And I'm so excited with that. And I like talking about it. This really is my first like true conversation about the
Oh,
last one. So
Really?
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
That
yeah.
is so exciting.
It
Yay.
is, because it's like,
We're
what am I about
honored.
to say? What are you going to ask? I don't have a bad answer yet.
Well, we have some fun ones to throw at you that we always ask our guests.
Ooh.
So the first question, we have a segment on our podcast that we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, where we just pick a fictional character that we loved that week. It doesn't have to be a boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Karen's had a fictional granny. We've had fictional pets. Do you have any fictional characters that you were like, oh my gosh, I just think everybody should know this person? And it could be TV, movies, books,
Anything.
just any
Oh my
fictional characters
gosh.
that you really vibe with.
And truly, this is the moment everything you've ever consumed like flies out
It's
the
like,
Right.
I
window.
That's
You're
don't think,
like,
have I ever seen a
what is a
movie? What is
book?
a book? I don't know what a book is.
I am playing. I just finished playing on the second go round Baldur's Gate 3. And I like love
Yep.
I like, oh, what's her face? She's the one with the horns. Whatever that character name is, her. She's kind of badass and big, and I would follow her around and just fight with her. I can't remember
Ah,
her name
I
right
love
now.
that. I
Yeah,
love that though.
yeah,
we've
yeah.
had a
Sounds
few
She's
guests say
super bad.
Astarion. Astarion
I
was
was thinking
there.
him, but he kind of creeps me out. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the teeth thing. I like teeth and eyes, and his teeth really. I mean, he's a vampire,
Yeah.
so I can't
He's
really
creepy.
relax around that. And I
Yeah.
don't like horns either. But she is Karloff. What is it? Starts with a K. But she's funny. I like funny. I like entertaining. I like kind of like badass, as you can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
Kai,
Yeah.
right?
Hey,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, another question that we always ask is we know like we're enjoying your book, we'll be recommending your book, but what are you reading and recommending right now? And it doesn't have to be something like you're reading right now. Like, do you have an all-time favorite or anything like that?
One of my all-time favorite books is, and I've read it maybe 6 times, and it's a safe book for me because when I'm writing crime stories, or even now this, I don't read anybody in that genre. So I go to either books I've kind of read before or brand new books. And sometimes I don't read brand new books because if someone's really, really good, then I compare my writing and I feel awful because I'm in draft stage and it's like, I can never write like this,
Yeah.
like, right? So I am reading right now again, Devil in the White City, Eric Larson, because
It's a good
one,
one.
yeah, I can't write. There's no way I can write creative nonfiction like that man, and it's entertaining, and it's safe for me. So I'm reading that book again.
Love it.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
All right. We don't want to keep you too much longer, but what comes next?
Well,
I
of
mean,
course, the
you've dropped
last
a little
one
bit of
is
a
coming
secret. Yeah.
out December 3rd. Yay.
Yay.
And then my next mystery, I'm starting a new procedural series called Fog and Fury, which takes place in a city kind of like Mendocino Coast, which is very murder she wrote-ish little kind of town. And it's she is a former LAPD homicide detective who moves to Northern California to her first case is finding a missing golden doodle. And as my editor calls it, I do this thing called like cozy gone crazy, where it starts out with this really cute kind of idea. She's looking for a golden doodle, and it gets really dark really fast, and their bodies and blood. And so that comes out in May. Fog and
Wait, I love
Fury.
that.
I
Mhm.
want Cozy Gone Crazy.
That is epic. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. That's the next big genre.
Cozy
Yep.
Gone Crazy. Love it. Well,
Ah,
speaking of what comes next, we do have to give you a little bit
and
of bad
laws.
news. Yeah.
Laws, yeah.
Now that you have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for our future book releases.
No.
We
no.
don't make the rules. So sorry.
We just have to enforce them.
I
Yeah.
guess if I have to, I would love to.
Yay. So this episode, we're recording a bit early, but this episode will be coming out after the book comes out. So anybody who's listening, you can go and pick up a copy of the last one right now. Let me read you the very first line of this because I feel like it sells it on its own. I'm sorry.
Thank
I
you.
open my eyes and choose violence. I'm sorry, like,
Say less.
say less.
What us this morning?
Just so walk into your bookstore, pick up the last one. We don't have it because it's not out yet, but the edges are really pretty.
They're
Just
pretty.
like you know how Red Tower does it. So head over and pick this up. Thank you so much, Rachel, for hanging out with us. This is
Thank
so much
you.
fun.
I had such a wonderful time.
We
Thank you
did
for
too.
inviting me.
This has been
This has
wonderful.
been a blast. Thank you. We
Thank
will
you.
talk to you
We'll
soon.
talk to you soon.
Okie dokie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Gus Gus. Bye, Major. Oh, I love her.
Oh my gosh, I want to go back and read her entire backlist right now because that
Yes,
just
I
sounds
love
like
Cozy Gone. I feel like Hans. I love Cozy Gone Crazy.
I
We're just frozen today.
it really is. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yay.
Yeah. Rachel, how's that haul, everybody?
Hell yeah. Okay, friends, that was a very special episode of The Incoherent Fangirl. If you enjoyed it, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. You can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog on theincoherentfangirl.com. And if you're interested in early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, and bonus content, you can head over to theincoherentfangirl.com/Patreon to subscribe. And if you're still somehow, for some reason, not ready for commitment, there is the option to purchase.
You need help.
I mean, first of all, therapy is a thing, so just saying.
True.
But there is the option to purchase individual bonus content posts as well as a collection of bonus content if you want to check it out before you make the commitment. I guess that's okay.
I think you should commit to us. I'm gonna choose violence about this.
Well, you did open your eyes and choose violence, right?
I did. Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Oh my goodness. We are still in the midst of the seasonal depression months, so you do need to do some self-care. Head over to our merch shop, theincoherentfangirl.com/shop to do that. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas, or you want to tell us we're pretty or that Georgie looks freaking adorable, because
I know I'm trying to secretly take a picture of him because this is so precious.
So cute.
I can't handle.
Sorry, friends.
He is.
But
he is so cozy.
If you joined our Patreon, you'd be able to see how adorable he is. Just saying. But anyways, if you want to send any of that stuff along, you can send it to our inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all.
Yes, and you can tell Georgie how wonderful and precious he is and what a good boy he is.
He's being the goodest boy. Look at him. And one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review wherever you are listening to us. Please give us your words.
Give us your words.
You know we love words. She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and the podcast on social media, you are ready to continue your self-care spree by heading over and visiting our internet besties. First stop is herecomestenerd.com, where you're going to get lots of cute artsy goodies. Add code FANGIRL at checkout to get 20% off your first order.
Then you're going to head over to onceuponabookclub.com, get some bookish goodies, and we have 2 codes you can choose from. We don't care which one you pick. We love you no matter what. But you can use either code Karin10 or Mandy10 for 10% off. You just have to remember to spell Karin right, or you're going to get no percent off. And George Bailey is going to judge you for the rest of time. And he's very good at that.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And
So,
honestly, he's such the goodest boy. You don't want him to judge you. That would be a
yeah,
fate worse than death.
agreed.
Mm-hmm. And then once you've done that, you're going to get over and visit our friend Amber D. Lewis at amberdlewis.com. You still in the holiday season, you can get
Yep.
some goodies
Just
and
in
gifts
time
for
for
friends.
Christmas.
So you're going to add 10 of everything to your cart. You're going to add code FANGIRL10 to your cart, and then you'll get 10% off of your order, which means you get one of the 10 of everything for free.
Mathematics.
It's very math.
We are professors.
Just trust us.
And last but not least, you're going to go support his dad, the show husband. Go follow at Searchers Believe on Everything, which is the show husband's paranormal group. Follow the Paranormal Mind on everything. That's his podcast. They've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I hope by now they have gotten back into the groove because they've been wanting to get back to podcasting, but we've been kind of all hands on deck for Stream Beacon TV. So you're going to go follow Stream Beacon TV on everything. It's our new streaming platform bringing you the terror, horror, and true crime. A little bit of terror. Bringing you a horror, true crime, and paranormal content that you've been missing. So if you head to streambeacontv.com and use code fangirl10, you'll get 10% off of your subscription. And if you head to searchersbelieve.com/shop, there's merch there designed by this one, yours truly. And if you use code fangirl10, you'll get 10% off there too. And you'll support the show husband, which in turn supports this little sleeping baby.
Oh my god, he's too
I
cute.
could eat him. He's like snoring.
Oh my goodness. I love.
Oh, I love him so much. I could die of it.
All right, friends, that was a very special episode of the Incoherent Fangirl. Yay!
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy all the things.
Happy holidays. We will see you in
See you next year.
2025, the year of the snake. Just saying.
Yep.
We're gonna kill it. It's gonna be great. I'm manifesting it right now.
Yep.
We love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
We
so
love
much.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.